I have never received a report with a result like this.
Is that good or bad, Your Honor?
For clarification, I want to find out, regardless of what Alex believed, wanted, desired, there is, in fact, real reason to have doubt because you admitted to that.
I've heard over the last couple of months different things. You know, he was wanting to, and then he didn't want to, and then other people tell him that he needs to get it looked at.
What was your relationship like with this other guy?
Mrs. Watts is here on behalf of her deceased son, Alex. Alex passed away a few months back, and Ms. Watts is here because she doubts that he fathered the defendant's 20-month-old child, Caden. Ms. Cheryl, on the other hand, is absolutely sure that Alex fathered her child.
I was called, received a phone call to come to a shooting where they said that my son was involved. When I got there, I didn't know at the time that my other son was there as well. My two sons went to visit a friend who had some type of altercation with some gentleman prior to my sons coming to visit their home. And when my two sons got there, they were ambushed and murdered.
That's so painful. It's the worst pain anyone can experience. Coupled with that, Mrs. Watts now has to live with the paternity doubt she has over Caden.
Every time you seen Alex, you seen me, you seen him, we were always together. We planned on having a family together, having that future together, but fortunately it was cut short.
How long were you in the relationship?
3 years on and off.
Okay. And so Caden is 19 months old?
Yes.
And so he did get to know his father.
Ms. Cheryl says that Alex never doubted that her son Caden belonged to him. She says they had a father and son relationship, and they were like two peas in a pod. She even has a video that shows the nature of that relationship.
Yeah, because like you don't hear what I'm saying? You mad at me now? You want to annoy me? I don't care.
So in your mind, as you see that, it's your feeling that he accepted this child as his own.
Yes, Your Honor. He did accept Caden as his own.
Hold up, what does she mean by blood test or not? Does that mean that there could be some reasonable doubt?
No, I'm saying that because, everybody has said their words and everybody feels some type of way about when it comes to Caden being Alex's child. I say blood test or not because to Alex, he didn't care to get a blood test. To him, Caden was his child.
Well, the issue was my son had went away for some time, and before he went away, he told me that Alexis was pregnant. And I guess this was during the time that they were on their breakup.
Oh, and this isn't hearsay. Mrs. Watts has evidence of this text message and tenders it in court. This means that Ms. Cheryl just lied in court when she said that there's no possibility that Caden belongs to another man.
That was my response because I told Alex I did have a one-night stand with somebody and cheated on him. I told him in the beginning. I want to say a week or two after I had the one-night stand, I took an at-home pregnancy test and I found out I was pregnant. I know it takes a little longer for the at-home pregnancy test to detect the pregnancy, so I did say I didn't know because I know what I did and Alex knows what I did, but I also do believe he is because I know what happened and I know at the time when it happened.
Is it just me or does Ms. Cheryl here look a little flustered? Anyway, the point is that regardless of the feelings Alex has for this child, there is a real reason to have doubt.
Is he a secret? He did not want nobody to know about the pregnancy.
Why is that?
Alex was a secretive person. He did not like people in his business. And at the same time, I didn't tell my family I was pregnant either. So we both decided to keep this a secret.
He was a private person.
And so you can see how your son may have said, let's keep this to ourselves?
Mrs. Watts says that Alex came to her house with the baby a few times, but he never for once mentioned that the baby is his child. However, he cared for the baby like it was his. Mrs. Watts says that Alex had a daughter and told everyone that the daughter was his, but he didn't do the same for Caden.
I didn't tell nobody when I was in labor with Caden, Your Honor.
And so Alex wasn't there either?
No.
No, yeah, and Alex didn't see the baby for 2 months.
So what's interesting is in the court papers, I see Caden's birth certificate. On the birth certificate, there is no father's name listed. Caden's last name is not your last name, and it's not Mr. Stewart's last name.
Okay, but why didn't she give the child Alex's last name if she knew that he was Alex's child? Well, Ms. Cheryl says that she just wanted to be sure and get a blood test first before changing his name to Alex's last name. That's not a very good explanation. Anyway, let's hear from Mrs. Watts' husband, Mr. Watts.
Yeah, we always hung out and did stuff together, and he never talked about no babies or nothing. It was all this is new to me this year.
Oh, wait, so
he's never even met me before. We've never even met face to face for him to be able to have a say-so on that.
I'm talking about what Alex said. He never said nothing about no baby. If somebody got a child, they gonna say, well, this is my baby. Here, mama, look at my baby.
Wow, so it seems Alex also had some paternity doubts. Despite this, Ms. Cheryl still claims that the child belongs to Alex. The only way to get to the bottom of this is to check out the DNA test and see what it has to say.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Lita Watts and Caden is 0.006%. You are not related. Do you know where Caden's biological father is?
No.
Mr. Runles always believed that he couldn't have children because of a lifelong medical condition. However, that opinion changed when his partner had Ireland, a baby he now claims is his miracle baby. There's only one problem with that claim. The partner in question, Ms. Taylor, claims that it breaks her heart, but she is certain that Mr. Runles isn't the father of her baby.
Not in my heart.
Tell the
no.
court.
Well, he has a, I don't know what it's called.
Called a
Yeah.
hypospadias.
Okay, can you describe that for the court?
All it is it's where the hole in the penis is in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Instead of being up top, it's more towards the bottom of the head. The doctor just said that it's a big possibility that I may never be able to have kids.
So Mr. Runles may be able to have kids, but the chances, according to his doctor, are uncertain. Nobody really knows for sure. That's a tough spot to be if you want to have children. Interestingly, Ms. Taylor was aware of this and has dated Mr. Runles for over 4 years. She says they tried for over 2 years and nothing happened. In fact, they'd planned to adopt a child if they couldn't have one. And then, suddenly, Ireland happened.
Family and, get out in the world. We had unprotected sex and we tried for so many times to have it. Nothing was working. So then I decided to go and do something different. And
Wait, what did you do? You have to be specific in court.
I had went and cheated on him with a guy I had actually known for a little while.
Oh, what did she tell you, Mr. Runles? Let's see where this story is going.
Did she tell you, Mr. Ronald?
Her original story, when I found out, because like I said, this is a miracle baby to me. This is, bottom line is, this don't work. If this is not my kid, I gotta go. There's not no more to it.
When you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell? The other guy you were pregnant, or did you tell Mr. Ronald?
I told them both, actually. I told the other guy on Facebook that I might be pregnant. It could be his baby. And I told him too.
But did you tell Mr. Ronalds you cheated?
No, man.
No, I did not.
Mr. Runles says that on her Facebook, he found a message from Ms. Taylor telling the other dude that the child might be his. And that hurt him so bad that he felt like he had a heart attack. He says even right now his knees shake when he thinks about it.
Then, I was there.
And so at 22 weeks, you find this out, and yet you still stick by her.
Yes.
And you stick by the baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are there.
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you there when baby Ireland is born?
Yes, Your Honor. I was at the hospital. The other guy was not by our choice, but I requested to have a DNA test done at the hospital.
Especially as he thought Ireland was his miracle child. Ms. Taylor says she didn't want the DNA test because she doesn't want Mr. Runles to leave her. That's a weird thing to say when she cheated on her partner with another man and then told the other man that he could be the father of her child. Despite this, Mr. Runles still loves Ireland and says he will keep on being her legal father.
And she legally, I'm still on the birth certificate, and I'm not going to be taken off of it unless she decides to take me off of it.
So
Even
you
though
are
I
her-
knew that there was a possibility still in my heart that I knew there was a possibility that she wasn't mine.
Mr. Runles obviously feels very deeply for this child and would want nothing more than to confirm that she is his. But that's not how it goes in paternity court. You could want a child to be yours with all your heart, and then the child ends up not being yours. It is horrible.
Of exactly what was going on. In my heart, knowing for so long that I've never had a kid. I've been trying to have a kid since I've been 18 years old, and it's just something I need to know.
And so
A lot is indeed on the line. Anyway, Ms. Taylor says she's convinced that Mr. Runles isn't the father because she sees a lot of the features of the other man in her baby's face.
I always
And it
get
just-
worried that he's gonna leave me because you never know. He's been there this whole time.
But you now fear that Mr. Ronalds will leave.
Yeah, because when
Oh no, it's gonna happen. I mean, if she's not mine, I gotta go. It's just bottom line.
You positive? You're done if this is not.
Yes.
You cannot stay in this relationship
No.
if Ireland is not your biological daughter.
It'll cause too many problems.
Wow, this is really a bind. The man who wants to have the child may not be the child's father, and the man who doesn't want the child could end up being her daddy. Aside from that, is Ms. Taylor really trying to tell us that she could see this man's features in the ultrasound pictures of a baby? Really? Is that even possible, let alone likely?
Well, we only known each other for almost a year. And then he came over one night and went to hang out. We hung out and it led into more than that. A week later, I took a pregnancy test. They both came up positive. And I told him not to get his hopes up on the first one because I didn't want to have him go thinking, oh yeah, I'm having a baby, and then I go to the hospital and I find out it's
Before
not
we get into that,
a
that's kind of
baby.
funny how Ms. Taylor says that he came over.
It shouldn't come as a surprise, but Ms. Taylor here doesn't sound so trustworthy. If she can cheat on a man who loves her like Mr. Runles does, what can she not do?
I was told that it happened outside of my house, in a park, somewhere outside.
I did. I told him that.
You did?
Yes, I
But
did.
in actuality, this man
Actually,
was
In
in
my
your
house,
home.
in
Yes.
my bed.
Since we're telling the truth now,
Right.
the truth,
Right.
was this really a one-night stand,
It
or
really was.
did it happen more than once?
It was honestly my right hand to God. It was only one time one time only, and that's the only time we ever had it. And then
Here's the thing. If you are coming to court, try to get your story straight. Even if you're lying, try to line your lies up. That way, you won't have to backtrack all over the place like Ms. Taylor is doing now. At this point, you might even hope the child isn't Mr. Runless because he doesn't deserve to be with someone like her. But then again, Ireland is his miracle child. Or so he says.
match his.
It's like,
but me and
like I
him had
said,
brown
she looks
eyes.
just like me. Look at her. Butt
She had-
chin, my big old elephant ears.
and
he's
this
a
is
kid.
Ireland.
Smile.
You believe she looks like you.
100%.
So, Miss Taylor, does she also look like the other guy to you?
Yes, Your Honor, she
He-
does.
We've heard a lot. It's time to get to the bottom of this matter and see who is Ireland's father. Is it Mr. Runless or is it someone else?
Mr. Runnels, you are her father.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, it is a
Made me
miracle,
nervous
baby.
for a minute, but that's
It really is his baby.
great.
It's a miracle, baby.
Ms. Gates says that a day before her son passed away, he told her that he wasn't the son of the defendant's 3-year-old daughter Alexis and 16-month-old son Nicholas. Ms. Rembold, the defendant, insists that the plaintiff's son, Nicholas Gates, is indeed the father of her child and says that the DNA test will prove the case.
It's not the dad.
I am here to represent my son Nicholas because he can't be here. I remember him telling me point blank the day before he passed away that he was not the father of Nicholas.
But yet he told me differently right before he died. He had told me that he didn't care regardless, that he felt in his heart that
No, he didn't.
was the father of my child.
Well, this seems pretty straightforward. Ms. Gates says her son told her one thing, and she's using this as a basis for the paternity doubt. Ms. Rembold, on the other hand, says she was told another thing, and Ms. Gates is absolutely sure her son believed that he wasn't Nicholas's father.
Deep down.
I could tell he was being very honest. I could see the sadness in his face when he told me that.
Also, Mr. Gates and I were also fighting at the time. We had a rough relationship. So Mr. Gates was going to say what he had to his mom.
What would he say to you?
That he felt that this child was his, and even if the child was not his, Mr. Gates would still stepped up and he would have been a father.
Of
Mr.
course he
Gates
would
was
step
a good
up.
father.
Well, Ms. Rembold doesn't sound very convincing. Why would the departed Mr. Gates even have a paternity doubt in the first place? There must have been some reason for that, right?
To you at all, or was there doubt?
Yes, there was some doubt. Mr. Gates with Alexis, if we would argue, he would say, go find your daughter's father. With Nicholas, I had found out I was pregnant, and he told me he would not be able to live with knowing I was pregnant with another man's baby. And then right before Mr. Gates had passed away, Mr. Gates had told me that he felt in his heart that Nicholas was his child.
It's not what he told me.
That doesn't answer the question, though. Anyway, let's move on. What exactly did Mr. Gates tell his mother before passing on?
Said that baby is not mine, and that's all he said. And he was just very distressed.
And he meant Nicholas.
Yes.
What about Alexis?
When Alexis was born, Your Honor, she was very dark complected, and he had every doubt possible that she was not his, due to the circumstances of them breaking up, getting back together.
Ah, so there's the crux of the issue. Mr. Gates and Ms. Rembold broke up lots of times and got involved with other people, presumably without protection. And that's why there are even paternity doubts at all.
When I first met Mr. Gates, he was in a relationship. I was engaged to get married to somebody else. The day we met, we just started off as friends, and that same night, Mr. Gates came back to my house, and he moved in immediately. But I didn't expect me and Nick to move as fast as we did, and it did.
Okay, it's starting to heat up. Ms. Gates clearly doesn't like Ms. Rembold at all, and that might be motivation for her to embellish what her son told, or might be motivation for her son to lie to her about who he thinks is the father of Ms. Rembold's children.
I was older than Nicholas, but
She's an older woman. Cougar.
So how soon after you and Mr. Gates started your relationship were you pregnant with Alexis?
it was Alexis that there was doubts. Mine and Mr. Gates' relationship was very rocky. Mr. Gates would love the attention from other women, and he thought he was slick and would always get caught cheating.
No wonder there are paternity doubts. This happened before Alexis was born and also happened before Nicholas was born. That's why there are so many questions over who the father of those children is.
You did.
Yes, she did.
If you did sleep with the ex during the breakup, why is it you don't agree with the fact that there could be doubt?
I mean, I don't blame you for having doubt. When we first found out I was pregnant with Alexis, again, me and Mr. Gates were cheating on each other. And I had told him I was pregnant, and at first he was like, is it mine?
Ms. Rembold says she slept with her ex around the same time she conceived of Nicholas, but she argues that it was protected, but the protection did break.
Are you serious? I didn't even know this.
Ms. Rimbold, you do understand that if the condom breaks, you've basically exposed yourself.
I had also, Your Honor, I had ran into the other gentleman that could have possibly been Alexis's father. I showed the other gentleman the picture. He says no.
Well, that's true. But despite the jokes, this is a really important matter for Ms. Rembold. She's lost the father of 2 of her children, and she's unfortunately alone in the world.
I've lost everything. He used to take care of the kids, and I worked. I've had to move since the passing. I lost everything.
So today's results truly mean everything to you, because having that clarity will hopefully encourage Ms. Gates to help with the children.
Unfortunately, Ms. Rembold's feelings cannot wish the paternity questions away. It is still there, and Ms. Gates still feels the same way.
My son loved her so much that he would watch the kids knowing she'd be going out with this man. That's how much he loved her and loved those kids, and it killed him.
So you moved this guy into the house with you and
And they both stayed.
Okay, and so which one were you intimate with during this time?
Both of them, Your Honor.
That's just nasty. It's time to round this up and see who the father of the child is. Since there's no blood card for Mr. Nicholas Gates, the DNA test will be to see if the kids are genetically related to Mr. Gates' surviving parent, Ms. Gates.
It has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Robin Gates and Alexis Gates is 98.6%.
The second result is a bit more complicated. Judge Lauren says the results are so complicated that she has to call the lab to see what's going on.
Between Ms. Robin Gates and Nicholas Rimbold is 64.6%. What does that mean?
We then compared Alexis and Nicholas to see whether they were full or half siblings. And the results of that siblingship test showed with a 99.99995% likelihood that Alexis and Nicholas do indeed share the same.
Ms. Walker says before her son Delonte passed away, she had doubts that he was the biological father of his supposed son, Delonte Royal. She says that her son also shared those doubts with her the day before his passing. Ms. Royal, on the other hand, claims that her son is indeed Delonte's child.
Well, Your Honor, my son was tragically murdered. The day of his passing, my son left something behind with me, and that was his doubt. And I am here today to get the doubt taken care of. Her child, her son, I don't know if that's my grandchild or not.
Ms. Royal says that there is absolutely no reason to doubt that her son is Delonte's. She says she has been completely loyal to him, and no one else can say that they could be her son's father.
In my family, we love her son. We love him, but we just can't go all the way. We can't be 100% there. I remember one day, to fuel his doubt, they got in an argument. He seen text messages between her and a guy around the time when she conceived, and so he doubted.
So if that's true, it means Delonte had some valid reasons for thinking that this child belonged to someone else. Here is Ms. Royal's version of events.
I'm pregnant. I don't have nothing else to do but sit in his house. So when he came in the house, I started going through his phone, which I didn't find anything. So after that, he caught me. Yes, he did. He said, if you think I'm cheating, you can get your stuff and leave. Well, I was trying to get my stuff and leave. I got my phone. He grabbed my phone to see who I was calling. It was an older dude. I called him my brother. He's just a person I looked up to also.
Ms. Walker says that's not how it was portrayed to her. She says she was told that Ms. Royal was intimate with this person, and it wasn't just a matter of calling her shorty.
He embraced that child. He kissed the baby on the forehead and everything. She asked him, she said, Delonte, do you want a DNA test now?
Right in the hospital.
Yes. He laid his head on my shoulder. He said, Mom, I think I'm gonna throw up when he see the baby. And so when she asked him, did he want a DNA test, he looked around, seen her family members, he told her, no.
Oh, that's understandable. So in front of everyone, he didn't want to embarrass her or seem disrespectful, but later he said that he needed a test. Ms. Royal says she knows nothing about this because she asked him twice, and she's sure he didn't want one. Mrs. Walker then asks why he didn't sign the birth certificate if he was so sure he was the father.
Your Honor, he didn't sign it because he didn't have his ID. When we kept telling him he was being irresponsible, that was not my fault. He even got his dad's first name and middle name.
Okay.
I would have gave him his last name, but he did not not have that ID. So that was not my fault.
So do you believe he would have signed that birth certificate if he had brought his ID?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it.
Do you guys really believe that? Or do you believe Delonte was just making up excuses not to sign that birth certificate before a DNA test? Anyway, it's time to round this up and find out if Delonte is truly the father of Delonte Royal.
It has been determined by this court between Ms. Monique Walker and Delonte Royal, 99.99%